1994, a group of men in Chicago, Milwaukee got together and created what they called the New Warrior Training Adventure Weekend. The idea of the weekend was it would give a man an opportunity to identify what his issues as a man were, and to do this in the context of a community of men who were all going through the same process. The men who devised the weekend, one was a former Marine, one was a psychotherapist who dealt with a lot of women's issues, but was seeing more and more men who weren't wanting to deal with their issues. And the third man was an educational psychologist. And together they put together this very intriguing, challenging weekend, which is essentially an initiation into being a man. Now, in all cultures, until very recently, men were initiated into being men by their elders. Usually not by their parents, but by a group of men in the society. And in the Industrial Revolution, that changed and all that stuff disappeared, and there's a great psychic need for men to be initiated into their manhood by men, not by women and not by kids, but by other men who are intentional and conscious. And the weekend is that it's an initiation experience for a man. It gives him an opportunity to understand what he's about here on the planet as a man, what his issues are, why he's here on the planet. There's a part of the weekend in which men are given an opportunity to discover what their mission is, and given an opportunity to deal with deep issues that they may have been avoiding. So it's a very powerful experience, and at the end of it is an initiation ceremony. It was a very powerful experience for me and for many other men. And so this experience, which we call the Warrior Adventure Training Weekend, or New Warrior Training Adventure Weekend, started in the Midwest of the United States and has gradually grown to the point where now, in the year 2009, I'm reading about weekends that are going to take place in South Africa, in France, in Australia, in New Zealand, all over the world. The work has spread all over the world, and I think there's something like 30 to 40,000 men who have been through the experience. Essentially, the weekend is the same with adaptations for local cultures, and what the success of this weekend suggests is that the intuition that these men had, namely that there was a need for men to initiate men, was correct. That in the transition from a tribal society to an industrial society, though we made important gains, we also lost some important processes. And one of the processes that got lost was the process of initiating men. And now that process is back, and Mankind Project stands behind that process and represents and gives men all over the world the opportunity to have the kind of initiation that will help them for the rest of their lives. It gives them test, an experience, a community, a process, and most important, as has been mentioned before, a way of maintaining and developing the insights and the energy they develop on the weekend with follow-ups. So it's a very, very, I think the work that the Mankind Project has done is extremely important. Men need to be called to consciousness and attention in this world. We know all too well the results of men who live unconsciously and out of control, and what we need as we go into the 21st century are more and more men who are devoted to living their lives in service and making this planet a better place. The Mankind Project is one very important vehicle for making that happen, or for making that possible.